Welcome to episode number 15 of the G5 Hive, where we aim to bring you all the honey from Conference Championship Week in G5 college football. I am Justice, and I am once again joined by my co-host, Luke. What's going on, Luke?
Doing better this week. Battled through some sickness. Pushed through. I made it to the other side. There's, no better feeling than to come out, just almost back to 100%. I lied. 100% would be definitely better, but feeling good. Feeling good. How are you doing?
Like I told you earlier, I'm a little sore. I had a visit to the dermatologist today, and they did a couple of biopsies. So I'm one was on my rib cage, and that one's a little tender. But other than that, I'm doing good.
It was a fun weekend of football. G5, P5. There weren't like a lot of games that like I could actually like watch. Dang near all of them.
That's awesome.
Having the quad box and stuff, and it's like, oh, there's only 4 games, perfect.
Well, it's going to be the Luke show this week because I will admit I didn't watch a single G5 game, and I didn't get to watch very much at all of P5. I watched the fourth quarter of Oregon and Washington, and I watched the first half of Texas Oklahoma State. And I saw like the very end of Louisville, Florida State, and that was pretty much it.
I guess I did not get to watch much of the would be like noonish games on Saturday. Like I went to first I went to Disney on Ice. So big Disney on Ice fan. Didn't go for the kids, obviously. It's just for me. But then afterwards we went to an called Analog. It's an arcade pizzeria where it's like pinball machines, air hockey, pop a shot,
kind of like a Dave and Buster's kind of sort of. Or?
Yeah, and then they serve beer, just pizza. So we went there, had pizza, and then kind of watched a little bit of the Texas game as it was happening, and then watching some of the Miami of Ohio game. When that was going on. So I didn't get to like watch it, but I could kind of follow along here and there. And then I had to drive like an hour, 45 minutes home. So I didn't get to watch all of those games I missed out on. But
yeah, Friday night, I guess I spent most of my time with my wife watching a movie, which was a terrible movie, but got to spend time with the wife. And then Saturday we went to dinner, and then we went to a lighted boat Christmas parade. So that was kind of different and cool. So it's fun. Spent more with my family, and it was cool to see.
What is a lighted boat Christmas parade? I live in Iowa. We don't have just like water around. Like,
so basically, people decorated their boats, and then they parade down like the river, and you get to watch them.
Do they throw candy like at parades?
No.
So there's so you go there just for the lights.
Just go for the lights.
Like, are they pretty basic, or are there like some that are like, wow, this is like
it ran the gamut. Okay. There was some that were very basic, and then there were some that were like one guy was like pulling a barge behind him, and it ran the gamut.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah.
One boat was clearly like the Grinch theme, all red and green lights. People dressed as the Grinch. Yeah, I mean, it was cool. It was fun. Something different.
All right. Well, let's get into what the Swarm needs to know. Our news and notes. There's a lot going on this week. So Justice and I decided to talk about, all right, we're going to talk about some conference championships. We're going to talk about some, coach of the year, player of the year stuff. For the conferences and some coaching changes going on.
Yeah, and I have a little bit of other news in here, but we're not like talking like portal news. Just other kind of news for G5 players I thought would be of interest. So yeah.
There's Are you worried about a player being in the transfer portal? Well, they are probably in the transfer portal. So we will come back to you when we actually know where people go, as opposed to spend time speculating.
The portal just opened today. Officially today, and then it's open for what, like
20 days.
20 days. So
I think it's 20 days. It might be 30
yeah,
days.
it's something like, I think you're right. I think it is 20 days. So I mean, we'll kind of cover that when things kind of settle down, because right now it's kind of pointless to talk about it because you don't know where they're going. They can always go back. I mean, there's just a lot of
One thing that
a
people
lot of
don't,
moving parts.
one of the things that people don't talk about is like, oh, you can go to the transfer portal. Well, once you declare you're in the transfer portal, that college can revoke their scholarship from you. It's not that you're getting that
Absolutely.
back. So, I mean,
It
you
really
do.
depends on the school, right? Um, I mean, I can just tell you, like, every Old Dominion player that's entered the portal, they've been removed from the roster. But then you look at a school like JMU, and they haven't done that. And then, like,
Or
Jordan
Austin
McLeod.
Reed last year.
Jordan McLeod has said he's going to play in the bowl game, but he's in the portal, which just kind of, I don't know. Like, to me, like, I don't. If I am associated with that team, I'm a coach, I'm a player. Like, if the dude's already said he's bailing, we'll see you later. Like, I don't know. That's just kind of how I feel about it. But
It's
different
definitely going to
schools
make
do
it
different
interesting.
things.
It'll make it interesting come bowl pick'em time.
Well, and then plus opt outs, right? Like, well, like how many people are opting out? Like, um, I've heard rumors that maybe Austin Reed and Malachi Corley aren't playing in the bowl game for Western Kentucky, which great news for me as an Old Dominion fan, right? But from from a just going and seeing the game, it's gonna suck, right? If that's true, but get to see what they have for next year, I guess.
Yep. Well,
all right. We'll start with our kind of the awards for the various conferences. We'll start with the Mountain West. No shocker here. The Mountain West Offensive Player of the Year, running back from Boise State, Ashton Jeanty. Like, I don't know that there was really any kind of question as to who it would be. I mean, the dude did it all. Like, I think we talked about last episode. Like, if he hadn't gotten hurt, would he have gotten an invite to New
yeah,
York
the Heisman. Yeah,
as for the Heisman? And I definitely think he would have. For sure.
yeah.
I don't
He
think he would have won, but I think he would have got an invite.
kind of cool. His birthday was on the Mountain West championship game. I don't know, day or whatnot. So topping your birthday off with a conference championship, pretty nice.
That is very cool. Freshman of the year for the Mountain West, UNLV quarterback Jaden Mayava. Funny thing is, he is in the portal. Just he entered the portal, I think, today.
Yep.
UNLV head coach Barry Odom was the Mountain West Coach of the Year. He definitely deserved that. They definitely exceeded expectations. Made it to the championship game, didn't win, but they made it quite an accomplishment for UNLV and how they performed in the past. Moving on to the American Offensive Player of the Year, quarterback from Tulane, Michael Pratt. And I did hear that Pratt accepted his Senior Bowl invite.
Yes.
And so that means he's done. People don't generally accept if they're planning on doing something different. So
I don't know if I've seen anybody go to like a Shrine Bowl, any of those type of bowls and come back.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
So.
Typically, like, once you accept the invite, those guys are pretty much gone. Rookie of the Year in the American, another Tulane award. Running back Mekhi Hughes, who was just phenomenal this past year, had an amazing year, and hopefully he keeps things rolling at Tulane. And then the Coach of the Year, also Tulane, Tulane Willie Fritz was the American Coach of the Year. So Tulane pretty much swept at least the words we're talking about anyway, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they have defensive player, other stuff. I didn't put that on our sheet today, but great year for Tulane. Disappointed that they didn't win the conference, but they had a great year nonetheless.
With Willie Fritz taking that job at Houston, I am very curious on what happens with Mekhi Hughes and the offense at
Yeah.
Tulane. Does Hughes also go with? I'll be kind of curious on what goes on there. Mac, top player, goes to DeQuan Finn, quarterback Toledo,
Who also entered the portal today.
which is just kind of like I guess where does he go? I talked about, we're not going to talk about speculation, but where does DeQuan Finn go? Like, he's like the perfect G5 quarterback. Like, does he go to?
Maybe like NC State, right? A Robert and I system. I could see that, right?
Okay.
I don't know.
I just
I don't. I really haven't given it much thought, to be honest with you. But just off the top of my head, that one kind of would seem like a possible fit.
And then we've got the MAC Offensive Player of the Year, Penny Boone, running back Toledo, with the Freshman of the Year being Jalen Buckley, running back out of Western Michigan. And then Toledo head coach Jason Candle was the Coach of the Year in the MAC. So Toledo almost with the sweep. But yeah. Got JMU quarterback Jordan McLeod was the Sun Belt Player of the Year. Also in the transfer portal, Troy's running back Kamani Vidal, Sun Belt Offensive Player of the Year. Great year put on by Kamani. Hopefully he comes back. We'll see if he tests out the portal. But big game in the championship. Arkansas State quarterback Jalen Rayner, freshman of the year in the Sun Belt, came out firing. Kind of, I don't know if I want to say dud, towards the end of the year, but definitely not as exciting towards the later half if you had him in fantasy. But great showing nonetheless. Hard to come out as a true freshman and put up, kind of the season that he did. JMU's head coach Kurt Sinetti, Coach of the Year in the Sun Belt.
He parlayed
he was
that
rewarded.
into a Power 5 job.
he was rewarded by getting the job there at Indiana. I don't know if we have it on here later or not, but we talked off. I think it was, maybe we didn't talk about this, and I was talking to somebody else about it. But JMU is having a hard time with contract negotiations for their next head coach.
Yeah,
because they kind of want something in there that's yeah, that you can't just use this as a stepping stone. So, anyways,
Conference USA, I could not find where they have announced any of their award winners yet. I gotta believe Caden Salter is the Player of the Year, right? I mean,
it'll pretty much be the Liberty. You got new head coach.
Yeah, Chadwell's probably the Coach of the Year. Salter will be the Player of the Year. I don't know if they'll do rookie or maybe they'll do newcomer. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I can't off the top of my head. I can't think of a true freshman that went bonkers in CUSA. I'm sure there was one, but off the top of my head, I can't really think of one.
I would say the offensive player of the year, Blake Watson.
No, it's American. They're American.
Oh, that's American. Sorry.
It's got to be Salter. It's got to be Caden Salter. I don't know who else it would be.
Did the American? So there's Hughes. How did I wonder where Watson finished? Because I don't know. I don't think Michael Pratt was all that great in comparison. Now that I think about it, but oh well.
Yeah, I don't. And I'm not sure why the Conference USA has not announced yet. But for whatever reason, I'm just kind of looking through some. I don't see anybody that I think would be like they didn't really have any freshmen that were kind of leading the conference in anything. Um, yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm not sure who's gonna be freshman of the year, but I'm sure Chadwell wins Coach of the Year and Caden Salter is Player of the Year. Other than that,
Yeah.
I got nothing.
JT Daniels, quarterback at Rice, he medically retires.
And
Shame because he
did he have
got
eligibility left? I just found that really odd because I didn't think he had any eligibility left. But then there's this announcement that he's medically retiring. I mean, I guess technically he could say, "Well, I'm medically retiring, so I'm not playing in the bowl game." But
what
I find it
I
hard to
don't
believe he'd have a year left after
I don't
this
know
year.
how it
But
works anymore,
but
Justice.
it's
I don't
crazy.
know.
It's crazy. It is absolutely. You're absolutely right. I don't know either. Maybe he would.
I just
Uh,
kind of can't wait for the next 2 years to get over because then we don't have to kind of worry. I think it's 2 years,
right.
maybe it's a year.
We're getting closer, right? Getting closer to be able to understand eligibility.
Yeah.
We gotta get past 2020. Once that cycle is out, we need everyone that came in 2020 and 21 and up, and then we can figure it out a lot easier.
And then I don't know how I feel about this in general. But now we've got players coming out and saying, I am staying with my university. Do you really need to come out and say,
Say it.
I am staying here? Like the not G5, but Kevin Concepcion at
NC State.
NC State. You got freshmen. Who do you think you are? You are a freshman, and you got to come out and say that I'm staying here. That's kind of
it's
weird.
it's
But
just the world. It's the college football world that we're in now.
but I'm happy to see that Jalen Royals is staying at Utah State. Not exactly sure about who they brought in there in the portal with Spencer Petras being an Iowa fan. Not feeling great about that. So feel like
Well, I'm pretty
the
sure
quarterbacks today.
Lagasse still has a year, and Hillstead will be back too. So
So
I certainly don't expect Spencer Petras to start for them.
uh, let me Casey Thompson, quarterback at Florida Atlantic, who's granted another year of eligibility with a medical hardship. And a guy that I thought his career was over, Brett Gabbert, is going to return at quarterback for Miami of Ohio next year. I
And
don't
that
know how I feel about
I love Brett Gabbert returning because I have a lot of Gage Larverdane shares, and if Gabbert's going to be the QB, Larverdane's going to eat. Avion Smith, he's not a passer. Larverdane's not gonna set the world on fire. So I'm personally excited that Brett Gabbert's returning just because of my Gage Larverdane shares.
if Smith could throw a football, that game would not have been close for Miami of Ohio. But he was having a rough go at it. So that game was a lot closer than it needed to be. Um,
Yeah, he's not a passer, that's for sure.
Pac-12, Pac-2,
Pack
and the Mountain
two.
West scheduling is under an agreement that the Mountain West team will play 7 conference games instead of 8, with 1 game against either Oregon State or Washington State. 4 will be at home, 4 will be on the road, and these games against the Beaver and the Cougars will not count in the conference standings. And Oregon State and Washington State will not be eligible for a Mountain West championship. The conference will also receive 14 million from the 2 Pac-12 schools. Now, I don't understand all of this quite yet because, to my understanding, you have to have 8 teams in a conference to be considered a conference. But if the Pac-12 is just 2 teams, I'm not sure how this works
Yeah,
unless there's
it's
some
not
sort of weird
sustainable, right?
things unless there's some weird thing that the Pac-12 and the Mountain West are considered one conference except for when it comes to I don't know. There's got to be some sort of language in this agreement.
There's got to be some reason they're doing it this way, but like, I mean, it's not whatever it is. I don't think it's probably not sustainable. My guess is the Pac-12 is going to go away. Washington State and Oregon State are going to join the Mountain West, and they're going to be part of the G5.
I don't think you can. I don't know because you got the automatic bid for a bowl.
There, I don't see any way they're going to honor that. Personally, I don't. I
But
don't.
like,
They're
I think
not
it's
going to
one
honor
hell
it.
of a recruiting tool. Hey, come here
Well,
and beat
for
this
one
other
year,
school.
right? I mean, maybe at best they're going to honor it for 1 year. I personally don't think they're going to honor it at all because it's 2 schools. So one of those two schools gets in. It gets in. Like, yeah, I don't think so.
It's like you start the schools like, all right, I already know the conference championship is you and me. But anyways, we got some more scheduling for conference in the MAC. The MAC plans to eliminate the East and West divisions. The top 2 teams, based on conference winning percentage, will compete for the MAC championship. Each team will face all 11 opponents home and away during a 3-year cycle.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much all, not all, but a lot of um, the college football conferences are moving to this, right? Like, the Big Ten's moving to it. ACC already did it. Pac-12 did it this past year. The Big 12 has been that way for a while now. So yeah, I feel like most are probably doing this. One that I don't see doing it is the Sun Belt. I don't think the Sun Belt will do it. I think the Sun Belt's gonna stick to their conferences. And I think it's a good thing, especially for these G5s. Because it helps well, number one, it helps control costs, right? Because you're playing, teams in closer proximity to you from a travel perspective. And it helps kind of build those rivalries too, right? Um, so I don't see the Sun Belt moving away from that. They could be one of the last ones, right? I mean, the Mountain West doesn't do it anymore. Conference USA doesn't do it. The American doesn't do it. So yeah, Sun Belt might be the last man standing, right?
Could be, yeah. I think so. 'Cause I don't remember which conference it was, but I'd read something. It was like, hey, we're the only G5 one left. I should have paid more attention to it.
It's got
I
to
think it was
be.
I think it was Troy. I think is what it came from.
Yeah, that's Sun Belt. That's the Sun Belt. So
So
yeah, I think the Sun Belt might be the last FBS conference to kind of do it that way. And like I said, I personally don't see them changing it.
so then we got some coaching stuff. You want to talk to us about some coaching changes?
Yeah, one we missed last week was Middle Tennessee. Rick Stockstill was fired. That's kind of I don't know, a little surprising, shocking to me. He maybe they didn't have the year they wanted, but I feel like he's been a good coach for them. Um, I did not get a chance today to look up to see who their candidates are, but to my knowledge, they have not hired anyone at this point. So stay tuned for Middle Tennessee State. We mentioned this one earlier. Tulane head coach Willie Fritz left for Houston. Be interested to kind of see what Tulane does there. And then the other one we mentioned earlier, James Madison, Kurt Signetti left JMU for Indiana. the latest rumor I heard, I'm trying to remember the guy's name. Is it Bonds? Oh gosh, the Holy Cross head coach.
Yep.
That's who. I can't think of his name off. That's Bob Chesney. Bob Chesney is kind of the rumored guy. That the JMU brass kind of flew up to Worcester, Mass today to talk to Chesney. They flew back. Those people, when they got off the plane, said it went really well. So the expectation is that Bob Chesney will be the next head coach at JMU. Again, not official. He's been head coach for Holy Cross since 2018. He's won the Patriot League the last 5 years.
I don't know anything about him. I'm gonna have to do some research about.
I don't
him
know
and the
much
system.
about him. My understanding is he's like a defensive minded coach, but he did not make the FCS playoffs this year. 2019 they lost in the first round. 2020 they lost in the first round. 2021 they lost in the second round, and then 2022 they lost in the quarterfinal. Prior to Holy Cross, he was at Assumption, which is a Division II school. They made playoffs 3 of his 5 years, and before that he was at Salve Regina. I don't even the North New England Football Conference. I'm assuming that must be like Division III. I don't know.
So he's been around. He's been at different levels.
Yeah. See, he's from Pennsylvania. So good for, I guess, recruiting that state. He graduated from Dickinson College. Salve Regina is a Division III school. He's relatively young. He was born in 1977, so he's 46. That's all I really see about him. His head coaching record, he's just over 700, 111 and 46. Like I said, 5 Patriot League championships, 2 championships in the Northeast 10 Conference and Division II. He's won Coach of the Year several times. So that's all I know about him. Like I said, I heard that he was a defensive guy. I'm more of a known for his defense than anything else. So JMU is a great defensive team. So let's see. Boise State. Actually, I skipped one. San Diego State hired former Kent State head coach and Colorado offensive coordinator Sean Lewis.
I love the hire because I love him, but I thought they were going to go defensive-minded head coach, and they kind of went the opposite way. So,
yeah, interesting hire. It'll be interesting. You know what I'm wondering? I'm wondering if Colin Schlee, if he can enter the portal as a grad transfer, if he follows his new head coach of San Diego State, stays out there on the West Coast. That would
make some sense.
That'd be pretty interesting.
Yep. And then, maybe they come up with a system that they can steal a win from a Power 5 type team every once in a while. I mean, he did a lot with Kent State, and Kent State's shown what Kent State is after, he
absolutely,
left.
Absolutely.
So, I think it really you saw what, Colorado looked like at the beginning of the year and what it looked like at the end of the year. So I don't remember when his play duties got yanked from him, but they looked pretty good.
They got worse. The offense got worse after they took it away from him. So, as we speculated last week, Boise State hired their interim head coach Spencer Danielson. He was promoted to head coach. I really thought this would help keep some players. Taylon Green has entered the portal. There's been rumors that Ashton Jainty's going to enter the portal, but that's not official yet. We know all the players liked him and loved him. I think, so hopefully he can keep some things together there for Boise State. Man, I'd love to see Jainty there again, but I'm sure there's no doubt that there's some Power 5 schools throwing money, big time money his way. But from a production and fantasy standpoint, I don't know that he's going to end up somewhere better than Boise State, right?
Yeah, we'll see how that goes, and maybe we'll get a chance to talk to him on this podcast someday.
Absolutely. Nevada hired Texas co-defensive coordinator Jeff Choate as their next head coach. Prior to that, he was a head coach in 2019 at Montana State. I don't know much about him. His Montana State teams were decent, made the playoffs. So it'd be interesting to see what kind of offense he's going to run there at Nevada, because they kind of went from an air raid to a running team. So see what his OC hire is going to be. This next one I found very interesting, just from a stylistic standpoint. Marshall has hired Seth Doege, former QB at Texas Tech, as their new offensive coordinator. He was an offensive analyst at Ole Miss in 2022, and I believe he was a tight end coach at Purdue this past year, which is where Graham Harrell was the OC. So I gotta think he's kind of an air raid guy, right? I mean, that's the offense he played in. It's the offense he coached in at Purdue this past year. And Marshall has not been an air raid team. They've been a run it down your throat, play good defense team. So it strikes me odd, just because of what Marshall's been under Charles Huff, and kind of what I would expect Doge's going to bring to the table.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll have to dig into him this offseason as to maybe some tendencies that he has, or from his guys he's learning from, and go from there. But yeah, it's definitely not on the running side of the ball, which is you have Rasheen Ali.
Yeah.
They've been running the ball type team. So
and let's see, UTEP has hired Scotty Walden as their new head coach. He was most recently the head coach of Austin Peay the last 4 seasons. They were 9-3 this season, ranked 13th. The 2023 Austin Peay squad ranked 4th nationally in passing efficiency, 9th in scoring offense, 11th in passing completion percentage, 13th in passing offense, and 15th in total offense, with 426 yards per game. Passing offense was 274.1 yards per game. And they set school records for scoring offense, total offense, and passing offense. So I think it's safe to say he's gonna throw it around, right?
Throw the ball
at UTEP.
Yep, which will be nice to see. Hopefully, he can get his guys in there, and I'll be interested in breaking him down a little bit. For these last 4 seasons.
And then here's one who we actually, other than Spencer Danielson we talked about, here's a guy we talked about last week. I think we thought maybe he would be, if they wanted a more seasoned coach, we thought he would be the pick. And it's Louisiana Monroe. Is not official yet, but looks like they're going to hire New Mexico offensive coordinator Bryant Vincent as their new head coach. He was also the interim head coach at UAB in 2022. And this past year, he helped lead the New Mexico Lobos offense that averaged 410 yards per game. Their offense was great this past year. Defense was kind of their issue. But yeah, I mean, one of the guys that we mentioned this past week, I think he was the guy you liked. I think I liked Tim Rattay a little more just because he was younger. But I think we both said that if they wanted the seasoned guy, Vincent was the choice, and it looks like he's going to be the man there.
Yep.
And then the last job we talked about last week, to my knowledge, it's still open. I haven't seen anything, any movement on that, and that is the New Mexico job where Vincent came from. You seen anything on that, Luke?
I have not seen anything on that.
All right. Well, let's get on to the conference championship games, and I'm going to let everyone on a little secret. Luke kicked my butt, and if we were betting, the only game I got right, we both got right. So yeah, if you want betting advice, I'm not your man. I think I said that last week.
You
I
did.
suck at betting. And Luke did really well. I did actually bet on two games, and I went 1-1. I bet on the Boise State game, and I took also Tulane, and so it was a wash for me. I won one and lost one in actual bets, but yeah, Luke crushed me.
So in our conference championship games, we had Conference USA, New Mexico State at Liberty. Liberty was -10, over under 54.5. So I won this one.
Actually, you went 2-0. I think you said the over too. I didn't write that down, but I'm pretty sure you did.
Yeah, I definitely felt the over coming. So Liberty won that one, 49-35. Kind of a back and forth affair there of offenses, but Salter didn't look all that great.
And didn't Pavia get hurt too?
He did, but I would feel like that was. I'm trying to remember exactly when that was. I don't want to misspeak.
I think it was later in the game. It was it was later in the game.
Yeah. So, but it was a nice back and forth week, or back and forth a game there between Liberty and New Mexico State. It was a fun one to watch. I didn't get to watch the ending, I don't think, which kind of sucked because I watched the majority of the first half, which again was fun to watch. But like Salter, it was like an
it was a tie game through the first three quarters.
Yeah, it was really good. It was like, I don't know, it was kind of weird. So I'm trying to remember exactly what parts I got to see. But Salter actually ended up with 165 yards rushing and a touchdown and throwing for 319 and 2. Like it was, pretty much shot for shot. But yeah, I think once Diego went down, that's when Liberty kind of took over there. But I did not get to watch nearly as much of that game or this next one with the MAC. Miami of Ohio versus Toledo. That was a 7.5 Toledo favored, over under 44.5. I went with Miami of Ohio. Justice went with Toledo. Miami of Ohio wins 23-14. This one I did not get to watch as much as, but what I did get to see was not all that great. Amos, I'm going to try to pull up the box score here, but I know he had 2 rushing touchdowns in the game. And here in the MAC.
Amos had 74 yards and 2 touchdowns.
And he was pretty much just like running it, inside the 5. He was getting those picks, those runs. But Smith mainly running the ball, didn't look great throwing the ball. He was 6 for 16, 109, no touchdowns, no interceptions. But yeah, pretty much killed everybody in the in the passing game. Quan Finn didn't look all that great. He had 33 yards rushing, a touchdown, 273 yards passing, a touchdown. His first 2 touchdowns. I think it was the passing first, and then the rushing, or vice versa, but it was like 14-13 or something like that right away. Just kind of in command, and then they just kind of sputtered. Miami of Ohio's defense uh, buckled down. His QBR was 46.6, so it's not like he had a great QBR. Usually Daquan Finn is running for more yards than that too.
And
But
Pete Boone didn't have a great game either.
But yeah, they definitely, Miami of Ohio's defense stepped up, and when it got close, they gave it to Amos, punched it in there. Mountain West, we had. Oh, let me scroll down here.
We both got this one right.
Yeah, at Boise State versus UNLV in Las Vegas. Stat correction from last week: we said that UNLV did not play at the stadium. I did some research. They actually do play at the stadium.
They play at the Death Star?
Yeah, they do.
Oh,
They
that's
pay
weird.
about.
I thought they had their own stadium though.
They do or did, but they no longer use it.
Huh.
They I'm trying to remember. I was reading an article about it because like for every home game, it pretty much costs them like $700,000 or something based off of like who they've got to pay to work security, things like that. And then they just do like a flat fee, and it's like $2 million for a home game or something like that. Or maybe after everything, after tickets, it's like 160. I don't know. But either way, math checks out for them in whatever kind of ROI system that they look at, that they go play at the stadium. So
Gotcha. Huh.
a home
Interesting.
game. A home game for lost UNLV. Boise State 2-point favorite, over under 58.5. Both of us get this right. Boise State wins 44-20. And this game was not
much of a game.
Not much of a game. Ashton Genty
Taylor
was
Green both looked good.
Yeah. I gotta watch most of the second quarter, third quarter, and then the fourth. I think I watched the end of the game. But Ashton Genty with 21 carries, 153 yards, 1 touchdown. George Kalani had 20 carries for 76 yards. Bolt looked good. He's kind of looked good, last handful of games towards the end of the season. He's a tight end wide receiver for them. Broke his leg, I think it was last year. But he's been getting I don't know, like 2 to 5 catches a game, and he usually gets like one big yardage, like big long touchdown. He had 2 for 72 and a touchdown in this one. Genty only 2 for 15. Taylor Green 226 yards passing. He was 12 of 15 for 2 touchdowns and no interceptions. Mavia, on the other hand, 166 yards passing, 2 interceptions, QBR of 11.2. Just pretty much nobody did anything. Ricky White, Jesus both had 6 receptions for 86 and 55 respectively. Again, it was pretty much Boise State's just controlled this game.
I was kind of, I mean, like, I will say I was shocked at the spread only being Boise by 2. Yeah, that was just crazy to me.
And then American SMU at Tulane 5.5 point favorite, over under 48.5. We both went with Tulane, and egg on our face. SMU wins 26-14. I gotta watch a lot of this game.
And the thing to me is, like, I don't want to speak for you, but I can tell you that why. I mean, with no Preston Stone and Kevin Jennings getting the start, I figured, like, that's Tulane easy, right? That was my line of thinking. had Preston Stone played, I probably would have taken SMU. But
absolutely. You get quarterback gets hurt, and a week later, you're gonna have to run that. You're not gonna change a whole system, I mean, hopefully you're taking quarterbacks that are close to what kind of system you want to run. But Preston Stone's been throwing the ball pretty well to all of his receivers, and I just thought the downgrade was going to be enough because usually, you know, Power Five, especially, you go back to that backup quarterback. He is not what your starting quarterback is. At the G5
Right.
level, kind of the same. Um, so I thought it was a big hit, but apparently SMU's defense,
Their defense
as
is
I said,
legit, but
didn't write
they're more
back.
legit than I thought they were.
Yeah, they did not write back, and they said, hold my beer. We'll take care of this game. And Tulane loses, like I said, 26-14. Tulane didn't have a first down until like close to 2 minutes to go in the first half. They were at one point in the or at one point in the late in the third quarter, they were like 3 for 9 on third down conversions. Just SMU's defensive line was just eating up the offensive line for Tulane. Uh, Pratt was just having a heck of a day. At the end of the game, looked like he hurt his shoulder or elbow on his throwing arm. So that, not great for him. But that SMU defense was legit, and yeah, they end up taking home the American, which to who was it? Liberty gets the New Year's Six Bowl
Yeah, I was gonna talk to you about that. Like,
because so peek behind the curtain. I reached out to Justice. I was like, who gets the New Year's Six Bowl because you've got Liberty who goes undefeated and wins, but literally played the worst strength of schedule,
in all of FBS.
133rd out of 133 teams, or Do you play do you give it to SMU, whose defense has been like lights out? They're 10-2, maybe with the
Or
conference
even
championship,
Troy
they're
too.
11-2.
Troy would be another
And
consideration.
their two losses are to Oklahoma and to TCU. And TCU at the time, they're just coming off the national championship. So you don't really know what TCU is at the time, but like who do you reward? The team who scheduled nobody or the team that scheduled two P5 teams? And the voters say that schedule doesn't matter when they picked
Well, they say it doesn't
FSU.
matter for the G5, but it clearly
Yeah,
mattered for the P5, right? And that's what they like. It to me, it just kind of proves like what we all already knew, that they could give two craps about the G5, right? Because they didn't, in my opinion, they didn't spend much time on deciphering who should be the G5 rep. Um, because all the arguments they made to exclude Florida State like are even worse for Liberty.
yeah. So I think they play Oregon, and it sounds like Bo Nix is going to play. So that I don't know what the over under or I don't know what the spread is on that, but give me Oregon.
I think
I would
it's like
much.
16, maybe.
It's like give like I would have much rather seen SMU in that
I would rather
game.
seen Troy
Yeah,
Troy or SMU. I just think they would have given they'd give Oregon a better game for sure. Let's see. Where is it at? Get to January. Oregon by 16. Yeah.
and then the last conference championship, the Sun Belt, App State at Troy. Troy is 6.5 favorite, over under 51.5. Troy wins 49-23. I picked Troy, just picked App State. Honestly, it was a really, really close game until like somewhere in the third quarter or beginning of the fourth quarter. Like it was back and forth. There's at one point there's a viral video going around. Like I don't know if he's a strength coach or somebody's holding back head coach there because they missed a face mask on the quarterback for Troy. Why am I blanking on his name? Watson. And it was like one of those things like, oh, like if we have to settle for a field goal or if we have to punt, like this is a momentum shift. Like you just screwed us. Which then the very next play, there was a questionable like pass interference call that kind of made up for it. And then it was pretty much like once those it was like those two things happened and then it's like the floodgates opened. Then it was like a 51, 52 yard, in the fourth quarter run from Vidal. He was just like anything inside the 5, he was just cashing in with touchdowns. They couldn't stop him. Um Honestly, I want to give a shout out. It was kind of weird because he didn't play a whole bunch. Well, I want to get his name here. Damian Taylor. He had 5 rushes for 36 yards, but they were like really impactful rushes. They were like the offense was just kind of sputtering, and he was like this like kickstart that they needed. He like put him in there, and it was just like you know kind of like the Tony Pollard when it was Tony Pollard and Zeke, and he's like that jolt that the Cowboys needed.
Yeah.
That's what Taylor, he didn't, he only had 5 carries, but they were, in my opinion, very, very big carries that if he maybe didn't get those, I don't I don't know if Troy wins by as much, to be honest, but he had some really big runs that helped out for that team. And I think, sneaky guy that was very, very pivotal in this win. While box scores aren't going to tell you that, watching it, you know, will tell you that. And then kind of funny, like I said, it was a really, really close game. I watched most of this game, and I got the if you take away, like I said, it was so close. But then if you just look at the fourth quarter, Troy scored 28 points, and Appalachian State for the game scored 23. So if Troy only plays the fourth quarter and Appalachian State plays the whole game, Troy wins 28-23. But it was like just so much closer than that score let on. So that does it for our conference championships.
Yeah. Luke went 4-1 and I went 1-4. Luke won our championship. Let's get to the top 25. So looking at the AP poll, kind of interesting. They have a different perspective than the college football playoff, but they had SMU ranked higher. SMU was 18. Liberty, I must have this wrong. There's no way they're both 18. Hold on. Let's see. AP. I'm sorry. SMU is 17. Liberty was ranked 18th. Liberty was 20th the previous week. SMU was unranked. Tulane is ranked 23rd. They were 18. JMU stayed at 24. Troy was 27. They were 30. Miami, Ohio was 30. They were 35 previously. And Toledo was 31, whereas they were 23 previously. But the college football playoff, which is what matters for the New Year's Six Bowl invite, Liberty was 23. SMU was 24. Tulane dropped out. They were 22 before the loss to SMU. So it's kind of interesting that, the voters en masse thought SMU was better than Liberty, but the college football playoff committee thought Liberty was better than SMU. Now, maybe they didn't. Like I said, I don't know. They spent a ton of time on that selection personally, just based on the things they were saying about Florida State. But yet here you're promoting the team with the worst strength of schedule and all of FBS as your G5 rep. Now maybe they did it on purpose, right? To protect the P5 brand, right? Hey, this is easy. Let's give Oregon, the team that was undefeated, but probably not as good of a team. Maybe that's what they were doing, was protecting the brand. I don't know.
I mean that's some pretty big uh, conspiracy theory. I just think, but then the other part, is the networks run the networks run everything, and I just don't think they really know who Liberty is. Again, they
Yeah.
are they are 13-0, and they see the record and like, yep, we'll go with them. Without really digging, it's who's deserving versus they are 13-0 and they are a conference champ. So go ahead, but you didn't do that with another conference champ in the Power Five.
Right.
So
Right. So
if we're gonna go with the most deserving, I think it's SMU. I could get behind Troy. Troy's defense is out of this world. So I
yeah.
could go with any of them.
All right. As we wrap things up, our players of the week. Luke, you want to go first?
Yeah, so I went with Kamani Vidal, Troy, 233 yards rushing, 5 touchdowns in their conference win over App State. He was just too much for App State. And congratulations on back-to-back championships for Troy.
And I went with Boise State quarterback Talon Green. He was 12 for 15, 225 yards passing, 2 passing touchdowns, 90 yards on the ground, and another 2 rushing touchdowns. And Boise State's win over UNLV. And I'm very interested to see where he ends up. Out of the portal. I said maybe he's another one. Like, I don't think he passes well enough for a Robert and I offense. He certainly brings the mobility. Be interesting to kind of see where he ends up. Just hopefully they don't force him to be a pocket passer and allow him to,
Let him do his thing.
use his mobility and do what he does best.
Yeah, that's all we got tonight.
I mean, that's pretty much it. The only game we're looking forward to, hey, Army versus Navy this week, right? It's always a great game. I enjoy the game. And maybe I haven't looked at the weather forecast, but I always love the Army Navy game when it's snowing, right? Like, two smash mouth run it down your throat teams in the snow. Like, that's pretty awesome. And they always have like the best uniforms, right? They break those out for that Army Navy game. Let's see. Just gonna try and look at the weather. They're playing in Gillette Stadium this year. Let's see. What's the world forecast for Saturday? Oh. There won't be any snow. It's 50 high of 55, low of 39. So no snow.
Yeah.
Other than that, yeah, that's it. I guess next week we'll be back next week, and we'll talk about the bowl games for that coming week. Give you kind of preview those and players we like. We'll have more information in terms of who's opting out, who's in the portal, and
yeah, that's kind of what I think these next couple weeks should be. Justice, like you said, each Monday we'll kind of preview the bowl games for that week, and then maybe what guys are in the portal or who have committed somewhere, or any head coaching things. We'll kind of, I think we'll gauge about like how crazy it is. If there's like a whole bunch of things to talk about, then maybe we split things up a little bit. But I would assume with a 20-day window, there's going to be a lot of things going on here during the bowl season. So there should hopefully be things to talk about each week. Hopefully it's not all on the front end or the back end. Hopefully it's kind of evenly spread out. That doesn't actually ever happen. So these kids will do whatever they want, whenever they want.
Yep, absolutely. So enjoy your week, and we'll be back next week to talk about some G5 bowl games.
Good night.